Alright, hello everyone. Here we are back for another tutorial. Now I'm going to use about 20%, because of this wind. I'd usually maybe use about 10% for the elevation. You can see it kind of dips down a little bit into this shot here, but since I'm going to go into overpower, I'm going to use just a little bit more. And I might use just a little bit more topspin that you're probably used to seeing me see as well. I usually try to stick to about 1, but keep in mind I'm going to need to go pretty good into power here. Maybe just a slight curl. And right around here, power-wise. Didn't want that great ball. I don't think it's going to end up costing me. But, so not even enough. Probably needed to go pretty full. When you get a tough wind like this, especially when you can't go for the green, it's best to just lay up like I just did. Problem is you might put yourself in between clubs if you don't quite get it down there far enough. So here you can see that I'm a little bit shorter, and I'm probably going to be in B52 type, more of like a min type adjustment with my B52. Now I will usually play maybe just a little bit of elevation on this one. So I'm going to add 5%, say, for kind of my base case for this next shot. And it usually has to do a little bit more about overcorrection as opposed to in any elevation, because you can see this is actually one of the more flat holes on the game, but the tee is just a little bit elevated, and you can see that the tee is the only kind of part that kind of shoots down to a lower part. So here you can see that right in the middle of the fairway here, it looks like I just made it to my min thorn distance. As I mentioned, I'll usually use plus 5% in this situation. I'm going to go plus 15%. And that's because I'm straight into a headwind. And I'm also going to need to land it right around here. And you can see this is telling me to go right around 4 or so rings. And you can see what I'm going to need to do with the side spin as well, because I'm kind of running out of fairway. So you can see with how I'm going about making this correction. And aside from that, we're going to go use 6.4 rings. I went about 6.7. Great ball right's not going to help my case because you can see that it lands right on the edge of that fairway. So I had to get very aggressive with that land zone. And you can see that the great ball right just put it into the rough. So you can see that I really didn't give myself enough angle there to be able to land that on the fairway. So you really do want to get it down a little bit farther. But we should have a relatively straightforward, easy pitch. It just basically took away my ability to be able to hole that out and pick up the win, potentially outright. So, hopefully that you guys can, keep it towards the left half of that fairway, ideally, but more importantly, when you're going for that drive, making sure that you land over that rough into that fairway for that second hop will allow you to get towards the edge of the fairway, get you a little bit more towards mid-club thorn, make it a lot easier to make the shot. But nevertheless, it just kind of took away my opportunity to win this one outright, and it'll still be, an easy birdie on this hole. So here, what we're going to do is use as much topspin as we can, and just kind of put it outside the cup, as you can see, just barely. I did catch a great ball, but hopefully, the accuracy of the end bringer should be enough to let that come into the left-hand side of the cup, especially when you're landing it short and top spinning it up towards the front of that green. So, pretty straightforward hole here. That's going to be your pretty much average case. You will still be able to drive it on certain winds. It's going to require definitely a downwind. I don't really need to go over that case as much. You'll just want to make sure that, when you're doing it for yourself, that you're using maybe like if you have a tailwind, you probably want to use, plus 20, plus 30%. And, that'll be a good over adjustment. But let me split this up. I'll catch you guys on the shootout.